Take a steady breath and follow me into the narrow gorge at Gapyeong. Feel the mountain air scratching your lungs, the water below clawing at bare rock. Now, tilt your chin, because the calendar above us flicks to June 30th, 2019. Everything you are about to hear began with a few sharp commands. Go in. Dive. Just drop. No witness recalls the word jump, but the meaning was unmistakable. 10 meters up, a man named Yoon Sang-yup stands rigid in a life vest, 2 sizes too small. He hates water, keeps his eyes locked on the whirlpool that waits to swallow him. 39, a refrigerator repairman. He once filled weekends with slow hikes and slower Saturday breakfasts. Turn with me and meet Lee Yoon-hae, 2 years younger, all perfume, debt, and bright charisma, smiling the way people clink champagne glasses. She leans close and whispers that single cue. Witnesses say her crystalline laugh hangs in the air, longer than the splash, because joy should never belong here. And yet, somehow it does. Wind the story back 7 years and picture a crowded bar, oversized sunglasses, a wink that hints at jokes no one else understands. That night, Yoon convinces himself he is married up, while his parents quietly tally her credit card debt. Both guesses will prove painfully accurate. Marriage turns Lee's charm into leverage. She mocks Yoon's payslip at dinner parties, disappears for nights, then returns wearing scents from bars he could never afford. Each smile of hers leaves a hairline crack in his resolve. So when she presents an 800 million won life insurance policy as a modern love contract, he signs. She calls it an investment in her favorite commodity, him, but the chill in that line is obvious to anyone listening now. Soon, Lee unveils a new chapter. She introduces a 10-year-old daughter from a past too tangled to explain. After only 2 meetings, Yoon signs adoption papers hoping the gesture will fix their marriage. One stamp on a Korean court order rewrites the family tree. If Yoon dies, the money streams to Lee, and a child he barely knows. The adoption was finalized in April 2019, scarcely 2 months before the gorge, and prosecutors would later argue that its sole purpose was to funnel the insurance payout to Lee and the girl. Lee texts her friends a champagne emoji. Yoon, busy paying off her cards, misses the omen. February 2019 brings the first test. Taste the salt drifting through Incheon Harbor. Inside an upscale sushi bar, Lee tilts a vial of pufferfish blood tetrodotoxin, 1,000 times stronger than cyanide, into Yoon's soup. 5 minutes later, he convulses. Doctors shrug and say food poisoning. Lee giggles in the hallway. Yoon sees devotion. We see rehearsal footage. April drapes dawn fog over a fishing reservoir. Lee's so-called cousin Cho Hyun-soo, her secret lover, charges from the mist and shoves Yoon toward deep water. Mud under his nails and lakeweed in his throat. He claws out alive. Lee applauds as if curtain call. No police, no questions. She phones her insurance agent twice that week, asking how long a drowning investigation slows a payout. Among friends, she jokes she is a widow in waiting. The clock hits 30 June, and we are back at the cliff. You watch Yoon dive, gasp twice, and vanish. Cho lights a cigarette while Lee towels her hair. Bystanders dial 119. Lee scrolls her phone. Neither she nor Cho so much as wades in, and the emergency call is lodged only after precious minutes drain away. 24 hours later, she files the claim. Makeup perfect. Jacket bone dry. A claims officer feels his instincts twitch and freezes the payout. Dry clothes, a man afraid of water, hospital records of tetrodotoxin, and a browser history that reads like a killer's notebook. Suddenly, the paperwork looks like a crime scene. Inside, insurer headquarters folders land like verdicts. The lead adjuster taps a photo of Lee's spotless clothes. Another points to the emergency room tox report. A junior examiner circles the web searches in red ink that squeaks louder than any voice. 10 seconds of silence. Then the team leader breathes out. This isn't a payout. This is homicide framed like an advert. July brings police questions. Lee answers with words colder than ice accident, grief, misunderstanding. Yet indictment looms. By December, she and Cho partners in every step of the plot vanish into Uijeongbu side streets and hourly motels. A 117-day manhunt begins. CCTV catching them buying ramen with cash, while an unseen aide wires cryptocurrency and books rooms. Their phones keep talking. One telegram ping paints a motel ceiling blue. Lee types, "Need taxi fare." The reply arrives, a single red heart. Cho photographs 2 instant noodle cups and adds, "Breakfast of Kings." The messages self-destruct after 60 seconds. But metadata lingers like greasy fingerprints. Detectives track those crumbs until a freshman art student spots Lee in a neon PC bang on April 16, 2022. Police close in. She flips her screen to black a split second before cuffs snap. Cho is arrested in the alley, cigarette ember dying with his freedom. At trial, prosecutors call Lee the architect of slow homicide, weaponizing affection, debt, adoption law, and insurance. Defense lawyers argue, summer accidents happen, and Yoon loved thrills. The gallery holds its breath. After 3 hours, the gavel falls. Life for Lee, 30 years for Cho. A later civil ruling strips both Lee and the adopted daughter of any right to the $800 million won policy, confirming that killers, and those who profit through them, cannot collect. The girl, too young to grasp numbers this dark, moves in with relatives. Yoon's father, worn by grief and cancer, dies before judgment. His mother carries her son's framed portrait to every hearing, whispering that his heart was kind, but their paperwork was sharper. Activists outside the Supreme Court light candles and demand a coercive, control, homicide statute, insisting psychological domination is murder, slowed to a crawl. Inside, Hwaseong prison guards describe Lee as disciplined, neat bunk, crisp ponytail, silent hours sorting library books. Her final appeal dies quietly. Time is now her only luxury. And Yoon? His body rests in the valley, but his story clings to trial transcripts, tabloid headlines, and the uneasy hush that falls when hikers near the cliff. It lingers. In the question, no one escapes. Where does devotion end and manipulation begin? Lee stepped across that line, certain the river would erase her footprints. Instead, the current carved her motive into stone. Love should be a life vest. Here, it became an anchor.